There's nothing more satisfying than finding the perfect green paint for your living room. Except maybe popping open that can of Valspar Ultra and rolling that first smooth stroke on the wall. And there's nothing more satisfying than admiring your freshly painted wall.
Ooh.
Except maybe peeling off the painter's tape to see those crisp edges. But the most satisfying part of all? Valspar Ultra's price tag, starting at $29.98 a gallon. Affordable, durable, available at Lowe's. Price varies by Shein.
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller podcast. Such a long title. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me is Mr. Chris Dashew.
Hello there, friends.
We are recording this on what would have been Abe Vigoda's 99th birthday, Chris.
You really don't know how much you miss Abe Vigoda until he's gone.
Until you watch these episodes, he's amazing.
He's kind of the best part of this show. I mean, there's a reason he got his own show.
His comic timing in this is wonderful.
He is, I believe, to be me in TV character form. A curmudgeon dick who just wants to be left alone.
So this is the first official episode of the show past the pilots. We're talking about 3 episodes of Barney Miller Experience, Snow Job, and Graft. And those were broadcast the first few weeks of 1975. Graft was February 13th, Snow Job February 6th, and Experience January 30th. And I have to say, just kind of looking at all 3 of these overall, I was a little confused because we had Ron Harris last week, and then he's gone in Experience, but then he's back. And the next one, it's just like, okay. But then there's one line where it's like, hey, Harris, where were you? You know, where's Harrison Wilson? And it's like, oh, okay. So they're both still working at the precinct, both of these African-American gentlemen, but we will never see Wilson after his last appearance on, I believe it is on Snow Job.
Which is a bummer because he's pretty great.
He is pretty great. I really liked him. And here he was in drag again.
Yeah, really, this show really loves drag.
Well, we do have to talk about Experience, which has possibly some troublesome, but
not possible.
Well, but
it's not great. It's not invasively offensive. It's just kind of, that's the way these characters were written, offensive.
Yeah. So we've got Marty, who I wrote in my notes as Marty the Queer, because that's pretty much him from beginning to end.
Oh, Lord. Oh. It's that level of stereotyping. And it's like, you know, because we obviously did the Kolchak tapes. It's kind of like the Kolchak tapes where it's, you know, Kolchak saying, listen here, broad. It's like, oh boy, like, it's not that it's offensive. It's just, it hasn't aged well.
I mean, they don't have any sort of homophobic slurs or anything. It's just people look at him askance quite often. And
he also has some dialogue that is stereotypically homosexual in its way it's written.
I did like his line about why not there being gay cops because there's gay robbers. I was like, okay, that's good.
Look, like you said, he's not, they're not calling him the F word, thank God. They're not calling him a homo or anything like that. So it's not offensive, it's just hadn't aged well.
And I was surprised, you know, here I thought Wojo was going to be the one who was always going to have trouble with outsiders, but he seemed to be fine. There was no, like, Marty, what are you doing? Why do you have to be gay and you should really man up or any of those things? He seemed absolutely fine.
Well, and you'll find out in a later episode that, you know, Wojciechowicz is antagonized for being Polish. So maybe that could have to do with it.
So the thrust of this episode, there's two big things going on. One is that Fish feels that he is over the hill and he wants to put in his resignation. But the other thing that Fish is able to help out with is that there is a mad bomber loose in the city. And I was like, okay, yeah, there was the mad bomber back in like the 30s and 40s. And then I started looking up bombs in New York City and not realizing just how many bombs were set in the 1970s in New York and just how many different terrorist groups and individuals there were in New York at that time. Oh my God. It was running rampant. So no wonder they just were like, oh yeah, then we'll have a guy who plants a bomb. I mean, I remember there being a bomber on WKRP. I didn't remember this bomb here, but all right, here you go. Yeah, we'll just have this guy who likes to plant bombs and set them off every day at 5:00 and is targeting any sort of public official.
Yeah, it's you know, they're drawing from reality and playing it up, which is fine.
Yeah, and like I said, this was kind of a gritty show at times. This was really trying to play what was going on in New York for laughs. I mean, they make reference in Snow Job to all the garbage that's on the streets. And it's like, okay, yeah, that was just a thing that they would have garbage strikes.
Joker did that too. You like that? You're welcome. Oh, did they steal from this show too?
Steal? You mean the way that Parasite stole the Oscar from Joker?
Bing, bing, bing. Not Gone with the Wind. Bing, bing, bing. Oh, dear God. I miss shows like this, though. Because there aren't enough, like, cop shows like this anymore. Everything is hard and gritty and dark and serious. And this is, you know, it's got some of that.
Yeah, just like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay, Mr. Troll. No, I don't watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine because Andy Samberg is not funny.
No, I can't stand it. I can't watch that show.
No. Oh, Lonely Island, dude, isn't it funny?
At least he's no Pete Davidson, though. Oof.
Talk about a face that needs a fist planted in it. Jesus Christ in heaven. Yeah, no, it has that kind of mix of like tension with comedy. I mean, I don't think for any second that like the department is going to get blown up, obviously. But, you know, there is some tension. I mean, in the last episode, you have a kid with a gun holding the whole precinct hostage. So, you know, there is some of that in the show. But yeah, most of it is just like this comedy between a bunch of different guys. And by different, I mean one guy's Japanese, one guy's black, one guy's Polish, one guy is Hal Linden, whatever Hal Linden is.
I believe he's playing Jewish.
Okay. Well, he looks Puerto Rican. Or something vaguely Hispano-ethnic. So, with that mustache and that hair, that perfect hair. The hair and the mustache, man. But yeah, you know, you're talking about kind of some of the things in the show that not problematic, but It has aged about as well with this episode and the way that it treats a homosexual character. It's aged about as well as Kolchak has.
I wasn't as offended with this.
Kolchak offended you?
No, Kolchak didn't offend me, but it was just like, it felt real creaky sometimes. This one, it's not good, but I wasn't cringing while I was watching this.
Right. No, and to be fair, that's kind of where I was too. I was like, this isn't great, but as long as they don't keep like hounding on it and like pounding on it over and over and over again, I think it's fine. Like, look, you know, this is the same show that has characters dressing up in drag, so it's not entirely taking itself and its condemnation or criticizing of other characters' lifestyles too seriously.
And I was thinking, okay, well, Marty, he ends up taking the briefcase that has the bomb in it. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, that's bad. You know, poor Marty, he's going to die now. And it's kind of that, like, you know, the sacrificial homosexual that used to be in a lot of movies. But then when it comes back, when Wilson brings him back in full drag, it's just like, oh shit. So I actually was a little, not concerned, but that was a nice fake out that they did with that twist there.
Yeah, no, I was right there with you. I like felt bad for that character. I was like, oh god, they're gonna blow up the only gay character on this show so far. Like, whoa, guys. Like, maybe not. Maybe don't do that.
And I was glad, like, Fish keeps coming in and just saying like, oh, well, you know, I would look at this or that or the other thing. And like his years of experience are actually what's helping solve the case. And he's the one that throws the bomb into the safe and single-handedly saves the day.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, it's this whole thing, this whole kind of I guess it's kind of the B plot is Fish like contemplating retirement. And then he shows that he has, you know, some reason to exist at the precinct. So it is kind of nice that they reinforced that.
Though I have to say, every time when Barney's giving him those really motivational speeches and all of a sudden Fish starts to snore, I laughed each time.
Well, it's because Abe Vigoda's comic timing is so good.
So good.
Yeah, Abe Vigoda really was a master at what he did. And it's you know, and look, also we got to give credit where credit's due to the writing of the show. I mean, the screenwriters for this show obviously knew what they were doing and did a really good job writing as well.
And these episodes just move along. I mean, it's joke after joke after joke, and it just really clicks at a great pace. It really makes me miss half-hour TV shows.
Yeah, you know, you can have half-hour TV shows if they're done well, and I think the issue really becomes there's a lot of these half-hour TV shows that are just done really poorly. And they serve no purpose and they don't tell a compelling story in the half an hour, but they have done a really good job so far in these first 4 episodes of telling compelling stories.
Right. And it's not just A and B stories. We often will have a C or a D story going on. And it's great that they can balance this squad room of all these guys and you feel like you're checking in with each one of them. And it's not just like, okay, now let's go over to Yamada. Now let's go over, you know, it feels like they're very much a part of the whole, but at the same time, you see what is going on with each one of their lives.
You strike me as the Yamada of this podcast. I don't know why, but there's just something about his delivery of his lines that just is like, I'm just like, this is just Mike. This is just Mike. Or maybe is Wojciechowicz Richard Haddam? No, Richard's not that unhinged. We love Richard.
I was very happy to see Stuart Patinkin show up in this as Murray's lawyer, who is very much like an ambulance chasing type lawyer. He's not credited, which surprised me. So now one of my responsibilities with watching the show is going into IMDb and correcting the credits or adding people that weren't credited.
Mike is taking upon himself to right the wrongs.
I am a social justice warrior.
I love Stuart Pankin, though. I mean, come on.
I was a big, not necessarily the news fan when I was younger.
I was a huge fan and still am of dinosaurs. And he does the main voice for the father in that show.
Were you familiar with Ray Sharkey, who is brought in at one point and thrown into the same cell with Murray?
No.
So Ray Sharkey had a very brief career, but He was very popular for a little while, or at least that's what I remember. I remember the name Ray Sharkey more than I remember the person, but he was very popular in a series called Wise Guy, and then he was in a movie called The Idolmaker, and he was actually the main character in a movie called Dubidio, which I have been waiting patiently to do an episode on for the projection booth, but the director is just kind of, he's cooling his heels a little bit. I'm just waiting for him to get back to me on stuff. But he's a very busy man. He's also one of the guys who helped create Welcome Back, Kotter.
Welcome back.
Not Ray Sharkey, but the director of Dubidio.
Ray Sharkey, though.
Ray Sharkey.
Great. It's great in this episode. I like the idea of him being antagonized by the other character. Again, it's not great, but...
So, big surprise, moving on to Snow Job. Big surprise that Barbara Barry is in the credits, but she has yet to reappear in these episodes, and she's not back in this one either. Whoops.
It's weird, right?
Jack Sue and Ron Harris are not in the credits, but she is.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's kind of weird. Like, I mean, she's a series regular because she's mentioned... Isn't she mentioned right after Hal Linden in the credits?
Yeah, oh yeah, she's number 2.
Which is so bizarre. You would think that they would have put her in every... I don't know. Maybe it's just me expecting that she would have been in every episode. What do I know?
Yeah, but these episodes are just in the precinct, and they stay in the precinct, and we really never go outside of that one room.
Yeah, this is a bottle episode. There's not a... I mean, and maybe, the farther we go in the show, that might become more and more the case, but there's... I don't know. Of these 3 episodes, I think this is the weakest one.
And it gets pretty dark for a little bit.
Oh my god, yeah. The character of the Flasher is oddly depressing. In a way that, like, the show hasn't had something like that yet.
He's depressing. The guy is so damn tall. So it just helps emphasize that he has no pants on underneath that trench coat.
What's really weird is not only is he depressing and he's talking about how he's a lawyer and he's seen every expert around the world and yada, 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 then he tries to kill himself, which is not great.
Right, and you think there's going to be repercussions because they let him go into the bathroom unattended, and then there's the whole trying to revive him, bring him back to life. So there's that very tense scene of Barney trying to perform CPR on this guy.
And the whole B-plot with the money, I feel like just feels shoehorned in.
That is kind of strange. I mean, because again, there's 6 inches of snow outside, and the armored truck drivers are on strike, so the stores have way too much money, so Wojo ends up getting $200 something thousand, and he tries to keep it in the safe that apparently just blew up in the previous episode.
Yeah, the safe that's perfectly fine after it was blown up by a bomb. Maybe not the best plot to go with on your next episode of the show. Or at least put like a line like, oh, at least we got the safe fixed. Like, guys, come on.
So there's those stories going on. There's also this whole thing of Barney being up for deputy inspector, which is just barely in this episode. I do like his whole thing where he's just like, when he finds out he didn't get the position, oh yeah, no, it's all fine, it's all good. And then he shatters the door of his office.
Yeah, he slams the door closed and the door explodes. I mean, again, I think the main issue I have with this episode is it doesn't feel like anything's going on. It feels like it's just kind of sitting there going, we know Barney's not going to get that position. The money thing, you can't honestly believe that any one of the characters stole it. And so then you're left with the suicide character, and like, it's so weird.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family, and available wherever you get your podcasts.
It tonally does not work with the show.
Yeah, and then it's very strange at the end. The button for the episode is Barney getting a package, and it's the Flasher's trench coat.
I don't even understand that.
I guess he's given up flashing and now has gotten the help that he needs. I mean, I felt really bad for the guy because he just is talking about how sick he is and that he's, like you said, tried all these experts and can't get any help. I genuinely felt bad for him.
His character feels like he's from another show, not this show. Because again, yeah, this show touches on some serious topics, but not in a way that would necessitate a character killing themselves in the bathroom.
Yeah, it feels like he escaped from Mary Hartman.
Yeah, it's just not from Barney Miller, because tonally, it's kind of a mess. And, you know, again, when you've got a character getting a promotion 3 episodes into the show, come on. Maybe save that plot for later down the road.
I would maybe say the same thing for the whole Graft plot, which is happening in the next episode, where you've got this guy showing up, what's his name, Kelly, played by Dick O'Neill.
Being a dickhead.
Dick O'Neill, fantastic actor. Love this guy. Love watching him in everything that he does. And he's great as a dickhead. He just comes in and manages to insult everyone in that room.
He goes to tell Wojo a Polish joke. He goes and he essentially calls Jack-Soo yellow, which is super great. I mean, he doesn't call Barney Miller anything, thankfully, but that's probably because they couldn't get away with it on network television. Using the K word on network television ain't great. But that being said, I think you're right. I mean, this episode also has that wheel-spinning kind of nonsense. It's like, why are you doing this early on into the show? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand what the point of doing this plot line this early on is, because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because I'm not necessarily invested in any of the characters that much right now.
No, not at all.
So when Barney goes home and is saying, oh yeah, Kelly's here and he's looking for, us. I love how he talks about it, knick-knacking, us taking any sort of free handouts. And I do have to say, I like the scene. So we do have Barbara Barry on this episode, and I like the scene that she and Hal Linden have. And it's very much like almost like a little actor's workshop, watching the two of them go back and forth. And it's just a really nice, well-written scene. And I feel that they do have chemistry. It does work. So it will be a shame when she's no longer on here.
Wow, but that's storyline why she's not on there, right? No, they're great. And that whole scene is great. And it's played in a way that is very contemporary, too. It's not like the nagging housewife. It's like she has a character of her own. She's doing her own things. She's got her own machinations. And, I appreciate that. I like that. That they're writing, a strong female character in 1975.
And I like that she feels that it's not because Barney is a police sergeant that they get choice cuts of meat or, the best whatever when she goes to the stores, but it's that she is a well-kept woman, that she is sexy, and so that's why she gets the better things.
Well, that's the fucking case, man. That is the case. So, right on the dot there with that.
So we get this whole scene, like I was saying, I'm not that invested in these guys yet, so when Barney comes back, almost everybody in the station has a confession for him, and they're all just these minor infractions. Chano's got a brother-in-law who snuck into the country from Argentina, so Barney calls ICE on him, and he gets thrown into a prison camp, and we never hear from him again. It's really kind of sad.
Bing, bing, sad. Confronting illegal immigration in 1975. Boy, this show's ahead of its time.
Yeah, Wojo wrote answers to an exam on his shirt, which is also ironic because he's studying for the sergeant's exam in this one. With Yamada, there's this whole thing of him using the phone to call his bookie.
His bookie, boy, that's a 75 thing, isn't it?
I do like his solution, though, that he manages to get his bookie busted and then brought into the station so that they can meet in the jail cell rather than calling him on the phone.
Is that like a New York thing? A bookie?
Watching the North Avenue Irregulars, I know that people make book wherever, but it feels like having a bookie is much more of a very urban thing. I don't have a bookie, Chris.
I don't have one either. And Fish is apparently fooling around?
Yes, what is up with that?
I don't know. I didn't understand. Like, it's either that he just didn't want to take his wife, and he was just, I don't know.
Oh,
because
no.
that wouldn't make any sense. He was getting with some ass.
He was playing around. Yeah.
Fish was getting some ass.
Yeah, there was
good for him.
Definitely somebody on that expense report that was not Bernie's. And yeah, it wasn't him having double steak dinners. It was him and somebody else.
Which, we're going to talk about Fish at some point, so we'll get to meet that character eventually. But that's a far off thing. That's still many moons from now. So it's just funny that it's like Fish is fooling around on his wife. I doubt they're ever going to bring it back up again.
And what's this whole thing of Fish talking about these new shoes that are higher in the front than they are in the back?
I didn't understand that one bit.
But when he's got the new shoes on and he's doing the physical comedy at the end, it is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, look, there's a reason Abe Vigoda got his own show. And it is apparent from the get-go why that's the case. Because Abe Vigoda is the best part of this show. Because Hal Linden is always playing the straight man. He has to. And then Abe Vigoda is playing like the dry comic timing. And then the other characters kind of fill in these weird spots. Like Wojo is just the unhinged one. And then Gregory Sierra is, I don't know, Gregory Sierra's character kind of is unhinged too.
Yeah, he gets very excitable about things. And then when he does, he ends up speaking Spanish.
That's so tired. I mean, in 75, I don't know how tired it was, but now it feels tired. I mean, look, when I think of a character doing that, what's the one character you think of when you think of a character doing that? It's going to be the same one I think of, from TV only. It's fucking Ricky Ricardo. I mean, he would do that. And that was a gag on the show. He would just start speaking Spanish really quickly. And it kind of feels like that in an unoriginal way. But that's, it also kind of feels like a Hispanic character trope as well, which is fine, but it's just kind of oh God, really? It hasn't stopped either. I mean, look at a show like Modern Family. They did the exact same thing with Sofia Vergara. So maybe it's just, Hispanic. That's just a Hispanic character thing, right?
That's what they do.
Yeah, they speak fast. And when they speak fast, they speak in their native language.
Don't you know that?
Yeah, all of my Hispanic friends do exactly that.
Just be speaking English at one point and then bam, right into it.
But at least, look, it's a trope. It's been played out. But at the same time, it's not bad. And this episode is the second best of these three. But it's barely better than Snow Job. Because Snow Job is just, I think Snow Job was a mess of an episode. And this is, again, like you mentioned, this has the thing where it's like you're trying to get me invested, or not invested, but you're trying to give me kind of a big stakes episode when I haven't really invested in the characters to begin with. We're at episode 4 of the show. I'm invested because I know that we're going to be doing this podcast for the next 5 years. But, if I were watching this February 13th of 75, I'm not sure how invested I would be.
So circling back, Chris, do you know what a snow job is?
I'm going to assume it has something to do with intentionally deceiving someone.
If you give someone a snow job, you are snowing them, or you're trying to fool them or put them on. My Uncle Fred used to always ask me if I was giving him a snow job, and I had no idea what he was talking about when I was a kid. And he's also a character in G.I. Joe.
Is it kind of like gaslighting?
Kinda. I don't know where snow job comes from, though.
Gaslighting is such a popular phrase in 2020.
So the dictionary.com says an attempt to deceive or persuade by using flattery or exaggeration. So basically you're trying to shine someone on would be another thing.
But how does that even make sense for the show?
Well, I think it just makes sense that it's snowy out and they're trying to use that as a joke title.
Oh, okay. Sure.
In 1975, that was hilarious.
Right. Just like Graft. I mean, what? I know what a graft is, but what does that have to do with the episode?
Well, just that they would be taking graft. That he is looking for people that are taking graft. Kelly. Yeah. I was very happy to see Kelly get busted back down to sergeant. Or back to plain clothes, I should say.
Once you get too close to the top where they're all taking money.
Exactly.
Then you get smacked down.
So cynical. Really cynical.
But I mean, the show, it's not wrong. The show is right on point with that, which I find to be really funny. Very forward thinking in a way.
So you would say that the first one, Experience, probably the best one, and then Graft, and then Snow Job.
Yeah, I would think so. For me, it goes Experience, Graft, then Snow Job. And again, Snow Job, I just felt, and similarly with Graft, we don't know these characters well enough yet to really get invested to the level that the show wants us to get invested in. And you can't rush that. You can't. Because if you rush it, you get episodes like this where it's like, okay, sure. We know that these characters aren't going anywhere, so... But again, that's also hindsight. We know how the show plays out. We know certain characters are essentially in the show until they die in real life. So, I mean, Jack Sue's character is not going anywhere until he passes away. Gregory Sierra's character is in the show, I think, for 2 seasons? So, the thing I find weird is, some characters just don't show up in certain episodes. And look, that's maybe a super 70s thing. I mean, it was kind of like that in Kolchak. You had John Fiedler in, 2 episodes.
I think it ended up being maybe 4 altogether. I think it was 3 at the beginning and then 1 right towards the end. And we were just like, whoa, hey, he's back.
Yeah. And that's kind of like this, right? It's like, where's Ron Glass? There he is. And now he's gone. And now he's back. Like, what? Or Barbara Bari. What the fuck? Where did you go? I guess they just didn't have enough time to show Hal Linden going home, but she's second billed in the episode. So her absence is felt for sure.
I think Ron Glass was off taunting Sherman Helmsley and trying to take him to hell.
I think you're right. That boy.
They did make mention in this one. Kelly is like, where's Wilson and Harris? And so I'm very curious because I think Wilson is done. I don't think we're ever going to see him again, but I'm curious if we will have mentions of him here on out.
He's off just in drag doing stuff. Sure. As good as an explanation as any.
That actor had an amazing career. He was both in Black Godfather and Black Gestapo.
I have seen neither of those films, but they sound great.
I've seen Black Godfather, but I have not seen Black Gestapo.
Black Gestapo. Boy, if that's not a title for a film, I don't know what is.
I think that should be Spike Lee's next film after Black Klansman should be Black Gestapo.
Black Gestapo. Oh boy. Maybe Spike Lee just stopped for a while.
He's teaching us lessons.
Oh, through the magic of film.
That's right.
That is all I have.
That's all I have as well. Well, Chris, I want to thank our our maestro, John Walker, for doing our theme song. I'm very happy with the theme song. I know we got it a last minute before we put out the first episode, but it's really, it's doing stuff for me.
And I also want to thank my good friend Maggie Dangerously, who put together our album artwork for the podcast that is currently gracing your screen. She did an awesome job, and if you're curious, the art style that she based that picture from is the Barney Miller board game, which is an actual thing that you can, if you have $200 lying around and you don't know what to do with it, go and buy on eBay.
You know, when Quentin Tarantino asked Abe Vigoda to be in one of his films, they sat down and played the Barney Miller board game together.
Is that real?
No, that was me taking off of the Welcome Back, Kotter board game that he played with John Travolta.
Is that real?
That is real.
Oh, well. Quentin Tarantino is so cool.
He's so cool, man. He's got all the stuff, man.
Oh, bro, I know things about things that other people don't know, and I take advantage of the things that they don't know by repackaging it into something that they don't know. Cool. Great. But yeah, she did an awesome job with the artwork, and she captured our likenesses perfectly, along with Hal Linden. Which, let's be honest here, if our dreams weren't to be part of the 12th Precinct, I don't know what they would be.
So, Chris, what is keeping you busy these days?
The Culture Cast. That's keeps me busy, and the plethora of podcasts that I am part of. The Culture Cast, the one-season show, Dreams for Sale, and Chronicles from the Crypt. You've heard me plug them before. I'll plug them again. Culture Cast is a movie podcast. One-season show is a podcast about TV shows that only lasted one season. Chronicles from the Crypt is a podcast about Tales from the Crypt, and Dreams for Sale is a podcast that you and I and our good friend Father Malone do, where we talk about 1985's reboot of The Twilight Zone, The Twilight Zone. What about you, Mike? What keeps you busy? What keeps you up at night? That's a bad question. What keeps you busy? I know what keeps you up at night, and this ain't that kind of podcast.
Pretty much what I do is the Projection Booth podcast. It comes out every week, which you can find at projectionboothpodcast.com. And yeah, then occasionally you have me on the Culture Cast, and I'm very excited to talk about some rare-ish, obscure-ish sci-fi films from the 70s and 80s, foreign sci-fi. We're talking about this coming March. It'll be fantastic.
It's obscure. It's real obscure. It is. I mean, which is fine. I like obscure, so makes me feel like I'm part of a secret club.
Right? Yeah.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
No, I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.